Look at this. Isn't this just gorgeous, guys? We decided to put in a new patio this year, and I absolutely love it. We get to hang out here when it's raining without just huddling under an umbrella. We pimped it out with some beautiful furniture. Yeah, I just love it. Of course, it's not always this clean and tidy. I did this literally for you guys. You can see all my kids' stuff over there. But normally I have plants and dirt and all kinds of crap in there. Anyway, figured I'd show you guys that first. I'm happy to see you guys again. I know it's been a long time, but I figured I would pop on here to do an update for the garden. I actually have to pick some stuff, so I figured, you know what, let me turn the camera on. I haven't seen you guys in a long time, so I'm going to take you around, show you what's going on in the garden, and then I'm going to do a little harvesting and show you what we get. All right, let's go. All right. So some of you guys who have been here for a while know that, well, don't mind that red Solo cup, that's a bird seed cup. We can't just be leaving our bird seed cups around, ladies and gentlemen. Anyway, so for those of you who have been around here, you know that this garden, I wish I could zoom out. Okay, so this garden actually used to only go from basically this right here where this fence starts, and then it went to right about here. So that was my entire garden space. And then last year we were toying with the idea of moving, but we decided not to. It just wasn't in the cards. So instead, my husband helped me to make this a bigger space for my garden, because he knows that this is my favorite thing in life. Oh, look at that. You son of a bitch. And now my dog's gonna freak out. All right, that was crazy. My dog does not like squirrels. My dog does not like squirrels. Guys, my dog does not like squirrels. Oh man. If he would have just bum rushed the garden while I'm trying to do a video, that would probably be hysterical, actually. All right, I'm distracted, because I am like a squirrel brain a little bit. I get very distracted. Anyway, so he helped me build it bigger, because if we weren't going to get a bigger property, he knew that I would be happier with a bigger garden space. So let's first start out by showcasing these beautiful flowers. Aren't these just too much? I mean, honestly, come on. Now these I have had, these are gladiolas, most of you might know. I had these orangey ones, and then this year I took a shot and bought some very cheap bulbs, and I figured there's no way they're gonna be like actually purple. They are. And I'm really kind of liking this peachy purple combo. I don't know, you tell me, what do you think? All right, and then let me tell you something. If you are allergic to bees, you would not want to be in my garden, because it is just surrounded by bees. So let's do this. We're gonna start over here. Of course, you remember my little pond. I wonder if my buddy is in here. Oh, he is. Watch, look, look, look. Can you see him? Can you see him? There's a little frog. He moved in about 2 weeks ago, and he's just been hanging out. He has totally settled in, which is wonderful. I know, this is a very flighty video, but let's start over here. So, here I added a new pot, which has some watermelon. They're gonna be done soon, I think. Although, if you look here, you see this tendril? That is not withered and dried up. So that means it's not ready. Now the other one down there, it's missing the tendril somehow. Therefore, I cannot tell when it's ready. So I'm just gonna have to trust the process. All right, and of course I got my beautiful pole beans and some cucumbers here. That's gonna be one that I'm gonna be picking. And these here are all Roma tomatoes. Last year I did really good with them, and I was able to can them and make sauce and a stewed tomato type of deal. So that is my goal for this year as well. I want enough where I have at least 60 or 70 or 80, hopefully. That way I get a good stock for the winter. Okay. So let's swing around here again. This is I have 2 grapevines growing that my neighbor gave me. They're really doing great. They're doing great. Last year, over the winter, or this past winter rather, the bunnies completely chewed. This is the main stem right here. The bunnies, I guess they got really hungry during the winter. They completely chewed it down to the nub. So technically I was supposed to get grapes this year. I did not, because once you chew it down to the nub, the plant restarts, and so it would not produce. This is like a first year grapevine. So next year I will get something. They also chewed down my blueberries. These are blueberry bushes. They chewed down the 3 blueberry bushes that I have to the nubs. So I did not get any blueberries this year either. What else? Oh, I do have some carrots over there. I've been harvesting them and making fermented carrots, which is absolutely one of my favorite things. I made a batch already, and I will be doing that again. I want to leave them though, because that's one of the things that the butterflies, Eastern black swallowtail, they will actually lay their eggs on them, and they use it for a host plant. So I like to leave the carrots as long as possible, because sharing is caring, my friends. All right, so let's see. This is Liatris. I love it. It is the bee magnet. I gotta try to move this in so I could get into this thing here without getting stung. All right, so this is the inside of my bean trellis. Okay, and I love this place. When I'm feeling stressed out, legit, I will come in here and I will just sit, and I can hide away from everything. And I have a little stool here, so I just sit on this little stool and I hide away. I was actually thinking about starting the video in here, but I was like, then I gotta set something up, and I really didn't feel like doing all that. So yeah, but isn't it cool? Imagine just hiding in here. It's a cucumber plant invading the video. Yeah, so, I do want to talk about this for a minute. So my bean plants are not doing great. I was able to pick like a handful, all right? Normally, I get about 5 pounds of beans, but we've had an issue, and I didn't even know this was a thing. I didn't even know this is a thing, but we have a groundhog. And groundhogs can actually climb trellises. I did not know that. Okay, so I came out here one day, and I'm looking up in this part over here, and I'm like, is that a freaking squirrel? I said, is that a squirrel up there? What the heck is that? But then slowly its body started to emerge. It was like, that's not a squirrel. Okay, that's not a squirrel, because they're much bigger, obviously. Yeah, he was just sitting there happy as a damn little, groundhog, happy as groundhog, chewing on my pole bean leaves. I thought it was like a one-time deal. No. This guy has been coming out day after day, chewing. So now I'm actually going to show you the result, because not only did he do a little bit on the side, he went to the whole top. Let me tell you something. He went to the top of the trellis, and he just sits his little behind up there and just chews all the freaking leaves off. Like, you gotta be kidding me. I don't want him to perish, all right? I got 2 dogs that live in my house. I do not want him to perish, this groundhog. But if one day my dog gets him, you know, maybe you shouldn't be chewing my dang old pole beans. Alright, so let's emerge. Let's emerge, shall we? Yeah, so again, this garden is about 200 square feet. It's not huge, but guess what, ladies and gentlemen? For me, it's pretty big. Alright, I don't want to zoom in too much because that affects the quality of the video. But you can kind of see, yeah, you're not going to be able to see too well. He just sits all the way at the top. I wonder if I could possibly lift this up. Yeah, I don't know if you could see it. That groundhog sits all the way up at the top, just sits his little behind up there, and chews and chews and chews. So we're having an issue. You know what? I'm not going to sweat it though. I'm not sweating it because I have so much in here to be thankful for. Look at this gigantic cucumber. This is one of the cucumbers I need to pick. I really should have picked it like a day or two ago, but I was like, you know what? I want to make a video. It's been a long time. It's been a long time, girls and boys, so I wanted to save it. So I have tons of these banana peppers. I'm definitely going to pick some of those. And then I do have, let's see if we can get in here. Can we get in here? Yes, we can. All right, I got a bell pepper. I picked already 1 or 2 bell peppers. But I have one more that I'm going to do today. Now, this is fun. So actually, I started these. These are ground cherries. They have like a little lantern deal. I started these and they really took a very long time to grow. So I didn't even know if I was going to be able to get anything from them. Because it just seemed like they wouldn't have enough time. However, they are growing really good. They are doing well, and so at least I'll get something. Yeah, so check that out. I really was pretty certain I was just going to chuck these into the compost, my little seedlings, because they were so tiny. I don't know if I ever posted the video I made of them, but the plants were just so tiny. Yeah, so I learned that you cannot eat these until they are completely dried out, and actually they will fall off. They will fall off of the stem here, and that is when you can pick them and eat them. Otherwise, they are toxic and they will give you a tummy ache. So don't do that, all right? I had a bad dream. It's so funny. I had a bad dream that my husband went out and he plucked all of the ground cherries, but he didn't wait until they were ripe because I didn't tell him, and he got really sick. And then so when I woke up the next day, I was like, don't eat the ground cherries. Yeah, but anyway, so let's check this out. So this is interesting. I really don't know what's going on here, you know. Could be me, could be the tomato. I'm not naming names. I'm not naming names, but I have no idea why this tomato plant is doing so poorly. And, you know, it is what it is. It is what it is. Yeah, I'm just, boys and girls, I love the garden. It's my favorite place. It is absolutely my favorite place. And you could do whatever you want, even in 100 square feet, 200 square feet. Don't let anybody tell you that you can't grow a garden, even if you gotta have to do it on the balcony. Even if you only got a little couple pots. All right, don't let anybody tell you you can't do it. Look how beautiful. I love it. I love it. So I just have 1 or 2 more super interesting things, and then that's pretty much it. I'll do the harvest and then show you what I have after all is said and done. And look at my poochies. Cash. Hi, buddy. Hi, buddy. Look at the tail going. Hi, my good boy. He's so good. He's such a good boy. Look at that. Oh, oh, oh. And look. Here's Coco. She said hi. Hi. And Cash said, hey, hey, give me some love. These dogs are so good. They get along so well. Let me tell you something. I was a little bit nervous. Hi, baby. I know. No jumping. No jumping. I was a little bit nervous because I never had two dogs together, and so they play and they're like super rough. But I just learned that it is what it is with them. And they're in love. They love each other. All right, so this is super cool. So this right here is a fig my neighbor gave me. The same neighbor who gave me the grapevines. Isn't that wonderful? I mean, to be honest with you, I have the best neighbors. Let me tell you what, I would love a bigger property, but sometimes you can't pick who your neighbors are, right? So I'm just thanking God and thanking the Lord that I am so privileged to live around really good people. Anyway, they gave me this fig. And look at this. That is called a figlet. And that right there is a figlet. So I didn't really know how figs grew. I had no idea. I figured it was like from a flower, you know, the flower blossoms, kind of like every other fruit, right? But no. They grow right out of the armpit. And I think they call it an inverted flower. I don't really know. Something like that. All right, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to pause here. I'm going to do a little harvesting, and then I'm going to show you what I have collected. So I'll see you guys in a couple minutes. Welcome back, guys. So I just got finished harvesting, and let's see what old girl got us, huh? All right, here we go. So I picked some carrots that we're going to use for tonight. A bunch of big, look at this sucker. I really should have picked this. Look at that. That's a big one. But not overdone, so that's good. So a bunch of cucumbers, a bunch of peppers, one lonely cherry tomato, which I didn't even plant. It just popped up in my garden. And then I got a bunch of herbs also. So I got some basil. We'll probably use that fresh. I don't really like to dry basil. It has a lot of moisture content, so it doesn't hold up so well. And then this is lemon verbena. I like to make my own tea, and another time I'll have to show you guys how much chamomile I actually got this year. I got a ton of chamomile. I was bringing that stuff in every single day. I didn't even, it was so weird. I planted it last year at the end of the season, and it survived the whole winter, came back early spring, like March, and I think that's how you have to do it. I don't think it's a summer crop. Everybody says they could plant it in the summer. I don't think so. So I had so much freaking chamomile, I can't even tell you guys. Anyway, that's a different story. This is lemon verbena. If you pluck this and smell it, oh my gosh, it is delightful. It is by far the most lemony smelling herb that I've had, and I have a couple. I have lemon balm, which is nice, but it's not exactly as good. So this will dry perfectly and make a really great addition to the chamomile tea for the winter. All right, so you know what? And look at these guys. Hi, Coco. Hi, little mama. Hi, Coco. Hi, Cash. Hi, you good boy. Are you a good boy? Are you a good little boy? He's like, eh. He's like, don't patronize me, Mom. Anyway, so that's fun. I'm glad I got on here. I'm, gonna post this hopefully tonight, if not tomorrow. I gotta make sure it's all, not cropped weird, and see, make sure everything is good there. But anyway, guys, I'm just happy to come on and tell you guys what's going on around here. It's been such a long time. And I really enjoy putting my stuff up on YouTube. I hope it helps somebody know that, again, you don't have to have an acre or 5 acres. You can grow food, and you can grow a garden anywhere. A garden is where your heart is, I think. It's funny. The other day, we were driving around and listening to the talk radio, and they had a call-in segment about how everybody's garden is doing in New Jersey, because we've had some really wild weather, pouring down rain. We had a couple tornadoes come through, not my area, but in New Jersey the other day. I think like 4 tornadoes touched down. We've had just storms with 70-mile-per-hour wind gusts. we've had torrential downpours that led to flooding in a lot of places. So the whole idea of the talk show, the radio show, was how is your garden doing, and how do you get through like a garden failure? And I didn't call in, but I should have. We were just busy. We were going somewhere, so I didn't have a chance to. But the thing is, yes, my beans, you know, they're getting chopped up by the dang old gopher, groundhog. A couple of the other things like the tomato plant, not doing great, all right? Again, I'm not going to name names. I don't know if it's the tomatoes' fault. I don't know if it could it be my fault? I don't know. Maybe. All right, maybe. But regardless of that, is it a success? Of course it is. And that is because I love coming out here and seeing the flowers. I love seeing the bees. I even enjoy the stinking little groundhog, if I'm being honest, because he's cute. All right, they're chubby. They're a little bit spunky, maybe like somebody we know. Okay? But I love that. So is it a failure? No, it's not. Would I like to have beans for the winter? Yes, of course I would. But, you know, luckily we're not in an age right now where that's going to make or break anything. Maybe one day I'll do a video of what I got going on in my front yard. Now back here, this is not ideal. This is the northern half of my yard, right? So it's not, you're really supposed to have more sun. I make it work, okay? My front yard gets 12 hours of sun a day. So this year I said, you know what, instead of just having my flowers, which I still planted a bunch of flowers, it's beautiful, gorgeous in fact, I'm going to put some zucchini beds out there, and they look great. I feel like I'm like a little house on the prairie out there. And they have been so prolific, these zucchini plants, because they are getting 9, 10, 11 hours of sun. They have been prolific. So yes, my beans are suffering. The groundhog seems to really enjoy them. They are suffering, but is it a failure? No, it's not. And it's a learning experience, because maybe I could do something different aside from, you know, giving that sucker the old 86. I don't really know what I could do to get rid of him. You know, I'm not gonna, I don't know, I'm not gonna catch him, I'm not gonna kill him. So anyway, all of that to say, yes, you can make a garden anywhere. You can have a success just by having a pollinator friendly yard. Of course, it's great when we can bring in a harvest. We love that. That's like, you know, that's the reward, because it's a lot of work, right? But that's the reward we can bring in. But there's so many rewards every single day that we can get from growing, all right? So I want to encourage everybody, if you have any questions, put them down in the comments. Yeah, I have a couple opinions on some current events, and I don't know if people want to hear that. Basically, in regards to Charlie Kirk, I did make a video last year about my feelings about Charlie Kirk getting killed, and it's been an ongoing thing, topic of conversations, especially with the trial and stuff. So if anybody did want to hear something like that, put it down in the comments. If not, I'll just keep on doing my gardening stuff, and if something is on my heart, it's going to be regardless of what you guys say in the comments, because maybe I'm going to put it up there anyway. Alright, but anyway, I hope you guys like this video. Again, like, share, subscribe, do all the things, and keep on growing. Keep on growing. And remember, God, Jesus Christ, our Lord and Savior, loves you. Peace out.